China's triple crisis typhoons, urban decay, and viral outbreaks. As the nation grapples with mounting challenges, the convergence of natural disasters, deteriorating infrastructure, and a relentless health crisis paints a dire picture. The first storm cloud looms with Typhoon Wea approaches. Guangdong, while eastern Taiwan braces for torrential rains, are warnings being taken seriously enough. As Tropical Storm Wea advances toward China's southeastern coast, residents in eastern Taiwan are once again facing the looming threat of heavy rainfall, landslides, and flash floods, yet the official warnings remain vague and largely procedural. According to Taiwan's Central Weather Administration, CWA, although Wea is currently classified as a mild typhoon, it is packing sustained winds reaching levels 10 to 12 on the Beaufort scale, and is heading directly toward the Dongsha Islands and the Guangdong coastline. As of the early morning on July 19th, the storm's center was just 230 kilometers south-southwest of Taiwan's southernmost tip, bringing immediate impact to eastern and coastal areas. Despite this, no mandatory safety measures have been implemented, and local authorities continue to issue only general advisories. More concerning wave heights ranging from 3 to 5 meters have already been reported in various coastal zones, including Keelung, Penghu, Orchid Island, and Green Island. Still, tourists and local groups can be seen gathering near the shores with no clear enforcement or official beach closures. Authorities continue to advise the public to stay away from the coast, yet concrete steps to ensure compliance are noticeably absent. Regions such as Hengchun, Nantou, and the southern mountain ranges are currently experiencing unusually heavy rainfall, creating extreme landslide risk. However, most residents have not received any personalized alerts via mobile or emergency broadcast systems, leaving them completely unprepared for rapidly deteriorating weather. Meanwhile, western Taiwan is experiencing a heat spike, with cities like Hsinchu and Changhua expected to surpass 36 degrees Celsius due to downwind heating effects, posing heatstroke risks for the elderly and children, especially in areas without stable access to air conditioning. Though marine warnings remain in place, residents on outlying islands such as Kinmen-Matsu and others are reportedly receiving little to no coordinated support for typhoon preparedness. While the islands are currently seeing scattered showers and overcast skies, there is no clear evacuation plan should conditions worsen rapidly. In this context, netizens across Taiwan have criticized the authorities for appearing to normalize typhoon seasons without adapting to the increasing severity of extreme weather caused by climate change. Each new round of torrential rain seems to arrive with less public urgency and weaker emergency protocols, raising fears that the human and economic toll could escalate unchecked. Compounding this natural threat is the hidden crisis within, as detailed in Inside the Hidden Crisis of Urban Decay. From the outside, China's skylines still dazzle glass towers, stretching into the haze lights flickering across polished facades. But step inside, and a darker story unfolds. What was once touted as the greatest housing miracle in human history is now devolving into a slow-motion disaster. One floor, one crack, one broken promise at a time. This is not a tale of isolated structural mishaps or the occasional bad contractor. It is the unraveling of a nationwide system driven by corruption, rushed development, and the absence of accountability that has left millions trapped in homes unfit for human habitation. Cracks beneath the glitter. In the early 2000s, China's real estate boom reshaped the nation. Urban areas transformed overnight. Provincial capitals like Guiyang, mid-sized towns like Luoyang, and megacities like Chengdu all became sites of mass construction. Entire districts emerged within months, thousands of high-rise units stacked in rows like dominoes, designed more for GDP metrics than livability. Fast forward to 2025, ceilings collapse, tiles fall without warning, and steel beams show rust within years of completion. What's worse, many of these buildings are still under mortgage, locking residents into decades-long debt for properties already showing signs of decay. In Hangzhou, drone footage from late 2023 captured eerie images of half-empty towers, glass panes, shattered balconies overtaken by weeds. Some units were never sold. Others were abandoned after the first year. One resident described her apartment as a concrete coffin, new on paper, but rotting from within. The human toll. Behind every decaying wall lies a family story. Ms. Zhang, a mother of two in Suzhou, spends her nights awake listening to creaks in the walls and drops of brown water hitting the floor. Her bathroom ceiling gave in during the summer rains, revealing a web of black mold and rusted pipes. When she reported it, her property manager shrugged natural wear and tear. She is far from alone. Across third-tier cities, volunteer groups have formed to inspect buildings, ordinary citizens photographing cracks, pooling funds to hire engineers, and warning neighbors about which stairwells are unsafe. In Chengdu, a 31-story tower barely 6 years old became infamous after a stairwell collapse nearly killed a child. Authorities blamed atmospheric humidity. Tenants blamed a system that valued speed over safety. How we got here. 3 forces laid the groundwork for this collapse. The cult of GDP at any cost. For years, economic performance in China was measured largely by construction. Local governments thrived on land sales. Politicians were promoted based on how many towers they approved. Developers, in turn, raced to build faster than ever, sometimes finishing entire blocks within 18 months. Quality control was an afterthought. Buildings weren't made to last decades. They were made to meet quarterly growth targets. Rotten inspections and corrupt oversight. Inspections mandated by law were often carried out by third-party firms tied financially to the developers themselves. Cement was watered down, steel supports omitted, waterproofing skipped. Reports were faked. Safety certificates handed out in exchange for bribes. In some cases, buildings were approved before construction even began. Zero planning for maintenance. Once a building was sold, the developer vanished. Residents were left with minimal support. Property management was outsourced to underfunded firms. There were no legal requirements for repair funds or long-term upkeep. When issues appeared, homeowners were told to pay out of pocket or live with the consequences. Ghost cities. Real nightmares. Much attention was once given to China's ghost cities, entire urban developments built without buyers. But a far more insidious crisis is now unfolding in buildings that are fully occupied. Families lured by glossy brochures and patriotic rhetoric poured life savings into what they believed would be lifelong homes. Today, those same buildings threaten their health and safety. In Zhengzhou, a luxury development started showing structural vibrations in 2022. Tenants reported feeling waves ripple through their apartments during windy days. Engineers were brought in. The building was declared safe with caution. No one offered refunds. In Xining, a train route was disrupted for hours in mid-2023, not by a derailment, but because nearby apartment towers were deemed unstable after heavy rain. Soil erosion had compromised their foundations, a system that doesn't want to listen. When residents try to seek justice, they are met with silence or threats. Lawsuits against developers rarely succeed. Courts move slowly when they move at all. Legal costs are prohibitive, and local officials often side with builders. After all, they share responsibility for approving the projects in the first place. Online forums, once full of property listings, now host survival guides. How to identify fake waterproofing reads one post. Another. What to do when your balcony starts tilting. State media, meanwhile, remains mute or dismissive. The Ministry of Housing issued a brief statement in 2024, warning of the risks of accelerated construction, but no meaningful reforms followed. The economic domino effect. China's economy is already struggling under youth unemployment, falling exports, and a shrinking population. Now the housing sector, long considered the backbone of growth, is eroding from the inside. As property values plunge, banks are left holding bad mortgages. Developers go bankrupt or disappear. Municipal debt soars. Home buyers, disillusioned and angry, are opting out. Pre-sales have dropped sharply. Young couples no longer see housing as a safe investment. In a culture where home ownership is tied to marriage, social status, and retirement, this marks a seismic cultural shift. Broken promises. Broken lives. Mr. Liu, a retired schoolteacher in Changsha, spent 3 decades saving for a modest unit. 8 years after moving in, the stairwell is cracked, the elevator hasn't worked for months, and mold has overtaken the kitchen. His children want him to move, but he can't afford another mortgage. "I believed in the system," he says. "Now I carry water up 15 floors every day." In Guangzhou, a school principal found herself living in a building that failed safety inspections but was never condemned. Her school attendance plummeted after parents pulled children from nearby apartments fearing exposure to mold or collapse. The psychological cost is mounting. Depression, anxiety, insomnia. Residents report it all. Some move their children's beds into the living room to avoid sleeping under sagging ceilings. Others stay up at night listening for the next crack. Suicide notes have appeared in online forums, some referencing hopeless housing situations. The silence is ending. What makes this crisis so devastating is not just the rot in the buildings, but the rot in the system. A system that rewarded haste, tolerated fraud, and ignored the cries of its citizens. The silence of the government only deepens the sense of abandonment. But cracks in walls are harder to ignore than cracks in spreadsheets. And as families continue to post footage online, share stories with reporters, and demand investigations, the truth is escaping the censors. What was once a proud skyline is now a cautionary tale. These are not just construction failures. They are monuments to broken trust. Where do we go from here? The solution is not simple. It requires nationwide audits, legal reform, billions in repair funds, and above all, political will. The question is whether China's leadership is willing to admit how deep the crisis runs. Every day that passes without action deepens the cost not only in yuan, but in human lives. These towers were supposed to represent the Chinese dream. Now they stand as its gravestones. Amid this turmoil, the escalating extreme heat ravages China. Temperatures soar above 80 degrees. Since early July 2025, an unprecedented heat wave has swept through over 20 provinces across China, pushing perceived temperatures past 45 degrees in many areas. Social media is abuzz with reports from locals claiming ground surface temperatures have exceeded 80 degrees in multiple regions. Official records from the Chinese Communist Party indicate that on July 15th, the temperature at Gongyi Phoenix Ridge Station in Zhengzhou, Henan, soared to 44.2 degrees Celsius, with 94 weather stations across the province, recording highs above 40 degrees Celsius. By July 18th, residents in various parts of Henan shared videos showing household glass shattering due to intense heat with surface temperatures surpassing 70 degrees Celsius. Some netizens even alleged that Henan's ground temperatures had spiked to over 85 degrees Celsius. A video from a Chongqing blogger highlighted similar extremes, reporting 42 degrees Celsius air temperatures and a staggering 86 degrees Celsius surface temperature in Banan district, where frying an egg required no stove, just the scorching ground. The heat wave's impact has been devastating, not only killing mosquitoes and cracking roads, but also causing glass windows to explode and water pipes to burst under the pressure. On July 16th, numerous online videos captured a dramatic scene in Xinyang, Henan, where water mains ruptured, sending water gushing 3 to 4 meters high. Streets turned into rivers, submerging passing vehicles and leaving several neighborhoods without water. A customer service representative from the local water company attributed the bursts to high temperatures and related factors. Residents expressed frustration over the sudden water outages during the heat, with one asking, "How can pipes burst without construction work?" Another replied bluntly, "They overheated and blew." The heatwave has compounded Henan's woes with severe drought. In some areas, lack of water for irrigation has left corn crops withered and dry. Ms. Gao, a villager from Xinyang, revealed that the river near her home has run dry. She noted that farmers wary after heat-related deaths in the fields now water their crops only after 7 p.m. A Henan blogger posted on July 18th, lamenting the relentless heat and scant rainfall. Crops are wilting. Rivers are shrinking. The air feels like it's on fire, and cornfields have turned to dust. Other bloggers reported dire conditions, with some in Henan facing a water shortage so acute that household wells have run dry, making drinking water a daily struggle. In Anhui province, the heat and drought have taken a similar toll. A July 18th video showed farmers desperately watering parched fields, their crops nearly dead with some breaking down in tears from the strain. On July 17th, Mr. Luo from Henan told the Epoch Times that family members in Xinjiang described unbearable conditions, including 2 heat-related deaths. One occurred in a town, the other on its outskirts, where an elderly person collapsed in the fields at noon while working. A passerby found them lifeless. Additionally, Wuhan Occupational Disease Prevention Hospital reported that 155 people sought treatment for heat stroke this year, with 5 fatalities. This heat wave, marked by exploding infrastructure and agricultural collapse, paints a grim picture of a nation grappling with climate extremes. Adding to the strain, China's viral onslaught, rising sudden deaths, and new chikungunya outbreak. China's health crisis shows no signs of abating, with persistent COVID-19 cases and a sharp rise in sudden deaths among the young. Recently, a new chikungunya fever outbreak has erupted in Guangdong province, spreading rapidly with no vaccine or cure available, heightening public alarm. A Chinese blogger cautioned friends in the south, "Beware, chikungunya is raging without any vaccine or effective treatment." In Foshan, Guangdong, the outbreak gained momentum after the first case was detected on July 8th, with 481 confirmed cases within a week, according to Guangdong CDC data. Some suggest the true numbers may be higher. Dr. Lin Xiaochu, a U.S.-based virologist, warned chikungunya poses multifaceted health risks. In its acute phase, it brings high fevers of 39 to 40 degrees C, severe joint pain and swelling, plus symptoms like nausea, red eyes, and tearing. Chronic effects often include persistent arthritis and severe complications. The disease's swift spread, coupled with the absence of preventive measures, has triggered alerts from health authorities in Wuhan and Chongqing by July 17th, amplifying public concern. The World Health Organization notes that chikungunya, like dengue, is a mosquito-borne illness with similar symptoms, potentially leading to fatal outcomes in severe cases. Dr. Lin added, "Though it spreads via mosquito bites, its impact is significant. Caution is essential." Beyond chikungunya, multiple viruses continue to circulate in China. The latest data from the Chinese CDC lists COVID-19 as the top disease by case numbers nationwide. Since the 2020 outbreak, the virus has mutated continuously, with accusations of the Chinese government concealing the truth. Recent disclosures from mainland doctor bloggers highlight a surge in sudden deaths, particularly among younger people. A Chinese doctor blogger questioned, "Why are heart attacks and strokes so common now, and increasingly among the young?" Another blogger remarked, "Sudden deaths are frequent. Many in their 40s have arteries aged like 70. Notable cases include the sudden passing of 41-year-old internet celebrity Guo Jianfeng from Baoji, Shanxi on July 13th, 59-year-old writer Fu Guosur in Hangzhou on July 7th due to a heart attack, 45-year-old Lanzhou prison warden Tian Yu on July 4th during work, and 51-year-old comedian Wu Di on June 18th. In August 2023, Falun Gong founder Master Li Hongji warned that the COVID-19 pandemic targets the Communist Party and its supporters, claiming many deaths, especially among the young. In his article Rationality, he advised, "Stay away from the evil Chinese Communist Party, avoid aligning with it, for it is backed by a red devil, acts like a thug, and commits every evil. God is set to eradicate it. Those who support it will face elimination. face elimination.